Hey everyone, Anton here, and ever since I got into business back in 2007, I have easily lost over $1 million by making a bunch of stupid mistakes that, looking back, all could have been easily avoided. So the goal of today's video is to share some of the bigger mistakes that I've made with you, with the hopes that you can internalize some of these lessons and not make the same mistakes yourself. Because what I've realized over the years is once you have something that's working in business, making money is really easy, but it's a lot harder to hold on to it. So in this video, I'm gonna share 5 different things that I've done over the years that have all led to me losing over $1 million, real world money. And if you know anybody that's running a business now and seeing any type of success, go ahead and share this video with them. I promise you, they will thank you later. The lessons in here can save them a ton of money. So the first thing, starting too many businesses. I got into e-commerce in 2007 with no idea of what it would be or where it would take me. And literally as soon as I started making money from my first store, I started to think, what else can I do with this money? So the first thing I did in around 2008 probably is I got some business partners, invested about $50,000 and started a digital signage company where we would buy these LED screens and these computers and these servers, and we would install them in locations all over New York, in big gyms, in Dunkin' Donuts locations, all over. We would put ads on them for local businesses. So we had to hire a sales team. We had to maintain these things. And it was this huge investment for me back in the day, right? Almost $50,000 between our team. And not just that, but the amount of time we put into it was just basically every hour of the day dealing with this business. And looking back, that was money that was not well spent. That was money that I should have just kept in the bank and only focused on the e-commerce businesses, which is where 95% of my income was coming from anyway. Now, luckily with that business, ended up selling it for about break even, but the time sucked into it was just something I'll never get back. So it's not just about cash, but there on cash, yeah, tens of thousands of dollars. Now, the next business I decided I should start when I was making all this money from e-commerce was affiliate marketing. And my thought process here was I'm gonna build this network of affiliate sites. I'm gonna promote other people's products. I'm gonna make all this money and never have to have any products shipped or talk to any customers. So over about a year, I invested somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000 building all of these affiliate sites. Now, this network of sites was back then netting me probably between like $5,000 and $7,000 a month in profit, which, sounds great, and that's great money. But the problem was I was putting so much time and energy and resources into these sites that I literally wasn't even paying attention to my e-commerce stores that were making me net profit $30,000 to $60,000 a month. So again, looking back, I'm putting tens of thousands of dollars and countless hours of time into this project to make $5,000 a month, where the thing that was actually working was still this cash cow. And I was like, no, I'm gonna do this and this and this. And it's not just me. I know this is a problem that all entrepreneurs have. So I want to share it with you. So again, hopefully you don't make these mistakes. Now, another one when it comes to starting too many businesses was software. So again, making all this money from e-commerce, why not get into a totally different industry? Started to build, not myself, but hire people to build tools that I would use myself, put well over $100,000 into different software projects, and at the end of the day was making net profit about $3,000 a month from them. Again, not a terrible investment, but when you look back and you compare what was coming in from the e-commerce businesses to that, why would any money go to that? Why would any time go to that? I don't know, because I'm an entrepreneur and like you, I think I could do everything from time to time, right? Get results and want to roll it into everything else. So one more thing I want to mention about starting too many businesses is that I do believe it makes sense to have more than one e-commerce store, especially if you're running on the dropship model. And I am thinking of doing another video where I talk about how many stores to start and when to start them. So if you want to see that, let me know in the comments. Just say stores, and then I'll know I should make a video on how many stores to start and when to start them. With that being said though, let's get into the second mistake I made that led to me losing over $1 million. And this was not managing cash flow properly when I was first getting started. So back in the day, again, 2007, 8, 2009, I wasn't really even that big into dropshipping back then. because I didn't even know it existed. I was just learning about it. So the way I started actually was bringing in containers of products from China into the States. And these containers are big and they have a lot of products. And for the actual cost of goods, it was between $30,000 and $80,000, like in that range. And that depended on the size of container and what was inside. But on average, between $30,000 and $80,000. Now, that was fine because I was getting money from customers, I was profitable, I was putting money back into product, but I wasn't smart enough to know that cash is king. And I made the mistake. All these mistakes, by the way, they're on me. I made the mistake of leaving too much money in our PayPal account. And somewhere around 2009, we had PayPal freeze our accounts for basically bringing in a lot of money in a short amount of time, not wanting to take on that risk. And they held over $50,000 for 6 months. Now, in addition to that $50K, I was also overpaying contractors. And what happened is I basically had to slow down my business to wait for this money to come out. So I had to slow down how much I was spending on ads. I had to slow down on how many products I was importing, which means I had less revenue and I had less profits. And I had to do this myself. I had to actually cut down how much money I was bringing in while I waited for cash to free up. And that led to about $20,000 to $30,000 of net profit each month disappearing. So over this 6-month window, that's at least $200,000 that was just missing because I made the mistake of not properly managing cash flow. Don't do that. Cash is king, especially when you have physical product costs and you're importing. Now, the third big mistake that I made that has led to me losing over $1 million is bad hires. And this goes with both agencies and contractors and even employees. So the first big one was, and this one really hurt, was hiring a company to handle logistics and freight shipping and overpaying them for years, about $100 per shipment. So back again, when I was importing, didn't know anybody in the business, didn't know what I was doing. I was making it work, but by Google. And basically I had found a logistics company that handled getting the products from China in Shenzhen to different ports around the US. So we were shipping some stuff to New Jersey, some to New York, some to Long Beach in California. And we were paying this company for the ocean freight charges and then to have these containers unloaded and to have products shipped around all the country. A lot of these products were big and heavy and shipping via freight. I always knew shipping was expensive, but again, making a bunch of money, so whatever, right? I don't know what happened, but after a few years of paying these costs, I thought, you know what, let me shop around and see if I can get other quotes. And I very quickly realized within about a day of work that again, I was overpaying about $100 per shipment compared to the competition. And I was doing this for years and over thousands of orders. So looking back, this was an easy $300,000 to $400,000 that I could have had in the bank account for doing the same work, for doing the same amount of sales, and by only emailing a couple other freight companies and getting different quotes. I literally could have had a Lamborghini in the driveway, brand new, if I sent a couple emails a few years prior to that. So make sure you are always comparison shopping when it comes to companies you work with, whether that be contractors or service providers. Now, speaking of other bad hires that have cost me a ton of money, a big one is hiring bad salespeople. Now, before salespeople hate me, it's not all of them. We have some amazing salespeople at our company that have been with us for years. But what I didn't realize early on, because I'm not a salesperson, is there are many of them that are sociopaths and they're unethical and they're big talkers. And from somebody that doesn't know to look for that, you might just think like I did, like, wow, this person's gonna come in and they're gonna close every phone sale we get, right? And what'll happen, and what's happened to me, is I made the mistake of taking people at their word and not having proper systems set up to actually track what they're doing. So as far as the sales side, back in the day, this led to lost orders. This led to fraudulent commissions, people lying about how much money they made. This even led to hurting some brands because on the phone they weren't ethical. So yeah, be very careful with salespeople. Again, there are some great ones out there. We've had some of the same ones now for years. So I'm not saying every salesperson is bad, but make sure you really do screen them and make sure you stay on top of the numbers. Now, another bad hire that has cost me a ton of money easily over $100,000 lost is paying marketing agencies and not understanding what they're doing and not really staying on top of what they're doing. So back in the day, again, most of the stuff I'm talking about is taking place between like 2007 and maybe 2012. But back in the day, I decided, you know what? I want to rank number one on Google for all these terms, and I want somebody else to manage my ads. So ended up spending about $10,000 a month outsourcing these tasks. And what happened to me is I didn't stay enough on top of it, and I let months and months go by where numbers weren't going up or weren't going up anywhere near proportionately to how much money I was paying these agencies, plus how much money extra was going to ads. So when you are outsourcing any type of media buying or search engine optimization, just know that money can disappear really fast. And as the business owner, it's your job to catch it early. So set clear KPIs early on, stay on top of them, have weekly or even bi-weekly meetings with the people that are working for you, and make sure you don't get into a place where 3, 4, 5, 6 months go by and you're down $100,000 like I was. Now, another thing that has cost me $1 million since getting into business is bad tracking. And I've talked about this before on my podcast, E-commerce Lifestyle, but there were literally years early on in business where I did not know how to track where conversions were coming from, where buyers were coming from. I didn't know if they were coming through Google AdWords, if they were coming through blog banner ads, if they were coming from a shopping comparison engine. I just knew that every month I spent X and I made X back, and the profit margin was amazing and I was happy. But I didn't know how to attribute sales to different ads. So when I finally figured this out, I got sick because I realized for years there were some cases where I was spending upwards of $10,000 a month on different platforms that were actually making me a loss. I wasn't even getting sales on some of them. So over the years of doing this, I easily lost another $300,000 to $400,000 by not tracking properly. So that Lamborghini I talked about before, at this point, I could have a Lamborghini next to a new Ferrari by doing nothing different, by doing things that each take minutes to set up. And by the way, if you're a member of Dropship Lifestyle, I teach how to do all of this in the Dropship Blueprint. If you're not a member, I'm going to put this on the screen. Check out this link, go to dropshipwebinar.com. I have a free training there on how we build highly profitable semi-automated stores. And I also make a really awesome offer for my program, the Dropship Blueprint as well. So check that out, link on the screen and in the description, dropshipwebinar.com. Now, the fifth thing that has caused me to lose at least $1 million is live events. And this is not related to e-commerce, but it was painful. So I want to share it with you because why not? Now, if you're part of Dropship Lifestyle, if you're like a member of our community, you're probably aware that for the past 7 years, we've hosted annual events. We call these retreats. So with our retreats, we bring together about 100 people, different parts of the world. We've done them in Thailand twice, in Bali, in Mexico, in Hawaii, in Prague. We do them all over the world. And this year it was supposed to be in Portugal, but thanks COVID, now it's backed up. We're still doing it next year though. And with those events, I typically do lose some money, but I'm not complaining because, events in other parts of the world are cheap enough. And for me, it's worth it to bring the community together, to meet people in person, and to really just have an amazing week. So I'm not talking about those events, even though they cost me money. I'm talking about an event I did probably 3 years ago when I first moved back to the States from Vietnam. So I'd been living in Southeast Asia for like 4 years, moved to Austin, Texas, and decided, you know what, I want to do an event here because now I'm in the States, we got our team here, let's bring together our community all over the US. We're in the center of the country, this will be awesome. Let's have a big event here. Now, I knew nothing about doing events at normal hotels. I'm used to like these exotic retreat locations around the world, which surprisingly are a lot cheaper. But anyway, found a nice conference center downtown and decided instead of making this a Dropship Lifestyle retreat, because it's not anywhere like exotic and fun, let's make this an internet marketing event and bring together as many people as we can that share the same passion. So basically planned on having this big event at this conference center. The costs were insane, but spent between $80,000 and $100,000 on booking this conference room, getting like the audio visual stuff set up, food and beverage, a VIP room. You have to pay all these people's salaries at the hotel that are supposed to be there like as technicians. So that was, between like 80 and 100K, which already I was like, that's a lot of money, but hopefully, we'll at least break even. So one thing they also make you do at hotels and conference centers in the States is buy a room block. So say like, okay, I commit, we're gonna have at least X amount of rooms booked. So did that as well, got it reduced to probably 80 rooms or something. But what happened, which again, this is all on me, don't make this mistake, is I didn't realize that the weekend that we scheduled this event was the same exact weekend as University of Texas at Austin, UT's graduation. So what happened, even though we booked this like almost a year out, is all of the hotel prices and all of the flights got jacked up like crazy because people's family and friends are flying in and staying at hotels to attend this huge college graduation. So quickly realized that the hotel rooms were not what we thought they'd be, which was just over $100. Instead, they were almost 300, and also realized that flights for everybody was super expensive. So that led to having less people show up than we literally planned on. That led to us having to cover a lot more expenses. And that led to me getting a notification on my phone from American Express that I always get when anything over $5,000 comes through, but came through for an extra on top of that original 100K, 147K about 2 weeks after the event that was already operating at a loss. So add that to the tally. I am sure we are well over $1 million lost, and there is plenty more than that. But those are just some of the biggest lessons that I think can help people here, because I know a lot of people that watch this channel that are part of Dropship Lifestyle. They're just getting into making money, and they have something that works, right? They follow the Dropship blueprint. They have a store up and running, and it's making them money. And I want you to know, making that money once you have it going, that's easy. But keeping it is what's hard. So focus on what you have that is working right now. Know your numbers, like I talked about, and work on profitably growing what you already have. And by the way, again, if you don't have anything yet, be sure to check this out, this dropshipwebinar.com. You'll get my free training there, plus the special offer for my program that was voted best e-commerce course by Shopify. Also, I recently recorded a video here on YouTube about what I would do differently if I was starting over from scratch. So I'm gonna post that up here. You can click that link, it'll take you to that video. Shows you some of the mistakes I made earlier on, specifically with e-commerce, and how I would not make them again. And then I'm also gonna put a button down here that you can click to get subscribed to the channel if you're not subscribed yet. So thank you as always, hope you got value. If you did, please leave a like and a comment, and I will talk to you in the next video. See ya.